Hello and welcome back to the Villa podcast. It's an exciting episode today as we are welcoming Digne from Everton to Aston Villa. But before we get into that, Dan, how you doing, mate?
Very excited, mate. Very excited. Can you remember a window that's been as productive as this in such a short space of time?
Absolutely not.
We're here within, there's still times we're done in January, and it feels like, Digne and Coutinho, and there's a couple of other names being bandied about as well. It's just crazy to do such incredible business so quickly, because normally when you have deals with such high profile players, they take a long time because there's just so much to sort out, usually on a contract end. But to get these done, just fire them out so quickly, it's been remarkable, mate.
It's exciting, isn't it? But before we get into that, Dan, first of all, we've got a word from our video sponsors. Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
Is a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you
sure
guys. It's One Football. Guys, this app is genuinely, it's life-changing.
It's great because I actually I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that One Football using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. So guys, if you haven't checked out One Football, make sure you check it out in the description down below. Use our link. It will help us out. It will help you out. And of course, it will help everyone stay up to date with the world of football and Aston Villa specifically. So yeah, make sure you check that out. But Dan, Digne, as you were saying before, mate, it's happened so fast. I remember it must have been 4 years ago now, Dan, on the final day of the January transfer window. It was about 20 to 11 at night. And I remember being in Salford Tesco going to get some shopping, Dan. And Aston Villa had announced the signing of Tom fucking Carroll. We'd signed Tom Carroll. And what did I do, Dan? I ran to the car. I paid for my items, obviously. And I sat my phone down and I recorded a video about us signing Tom Carroll. There's levels, Dan. The past two players we've signed, Coutinho and Digne. It's crazy just how far we've come. And of course, the point there being, we got that done with like 20 minutes to go to the deadline. And Tom Carroll played like 2 games for Villa. He's not going to be able to get his career back on track. But this is a signing, Dan. Digne. It's very exciting. The fee's been reported at around £25 million, which I'm inclined to say is a good deal. I think you have to consider the age. Obviously, he's hitting around that sort of 29, 30 mark. So maybe you can question the fee, but for the quality of player you're getting, Dan, it's just remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, absolutely, mate. I think you that's what this is. I think, as you said, he is in those peak years, coming up towards his 30s now. I think, he'll turn 29 in July. But there's still a lot of time left. And I saw someone make a very good point. And I think if you look at the Ballon d'Or rankings now, hear me out on this. If you look at the rankings of the Ballon d'Or, you have to take into account the age of the players that we're talking about. So, number 1 being Messi, 2 Lewandowski, 3 Jorginho, 4 Benzema, Kante, Ronaldo, into Salah. So there's the top 7, all of which are either they're 29, 28 or older. So there's a trend in football now where we're seeing older players, despite the speed and intensity of the game, really have quite a longevity in the game. And most players are actually coming into their peak as they approach the age in which they're expected to decline. So I think, that sort of age where you sort of look at 30, 31, you think, players are going to start falling off at this point. There's actually a lot of trends in football to suggest that it's not actually true at the moment. This is perhaps something that, is reflected in Villa's philosophy of signings. We are starting to target slightly older players, but naturally, I think that comes with, wanting an upgrade in quality. It's very rare that you can upgrade on players and put yourself in a position to go and challenge for top European places while still only signing players 23 and under, because then you're signing, wonder kids that are going to be worth £100 million. So normally you have to sign older players if you want to hit that quota of improving your squad. And Digne, I think, definitely does that. I think it's rare that you'd go and move for a player like this in January, especially how crucially he's been to Everton. But, he's reportedly been quite frustrated with Benitez's defensive style of play. And I'm delighted to welcome him to the Villa, mate, because I think he is definitely an upgrade on Matty Target, and those qualms that you've had this season with the crossing from our fullbacks. I think at least on one side, you don't have to worry anymore, mate.
No, and that's the thing, man. It's not. I'm fully behind the club and the philosophy of bringing in young players with high resale values and high ceilings. I think that's a fantastic way to do business, but ultimately, it's always going to be a gamble. With Luca Digne, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting an all-action fullback with an absolutely delightful left peg, who's always finding crosses, finding his man at the back post. And ultimately, that's what Villa need. We need consistency in these positions. And whilst if you look at, of course, me and Dan, we're massive advocates for looking at the stats, and the stats will tell you that the Digne and Target are very similar players. But in terms of XA, actual assists as well, goals as well, I think, if you guys remember the Luca Digne's first full season when he joined Everton, he was fantastic, Dan. He was absolutely wonderful. He's in everyone's FPL team, and was, he was a solid 10 points a game, which is brilliant. But no, Digne he's this all-action fullback that I can understand why the age is putting some people off, but ultimately, as I was trying to say just there before I kind of got lost in my own sentence, you're taking a risk with signing players like Matty Target and Matty Cash. You're taking a risk when you sign these young players that aren't necessarily proven in the top level. Luca Digne is a seasoned pro. He's played all across Europe for Paris Saint-Germain, for Barcelona, for Roma. He's done it in the Premier League at Everton. And I've got to say, mate, I have absolutely no qualms with the fee, no qualms with the fact that we're getting our men in early. And again, I think it's a point that we've made over the past sort of year, Dan, when we're talking about how Villa have operated. Villa are in a situation where we can take advantage of these teams who are struggling financially, which, let's be honest, Dan, Everton are having a very bad time. They've spent the best part of £500 million down the drain over the past 10 years on players like Alex Iwobi. So when clubs like Villa have to take advantage of this situation, and ultimately, if anything, Dan, we're weakening the teams that should supposedly be around us. I'm more than happy to take a Luca Digne off of Everton, and if it came to it, an Yves Bissouma off Brighton, because that significantly weakens another side in our league. Bissouma, there's a whole other kettle of fish to discuss Bissouma, and I don't think we're going to do that on the channel just yet. But if you can pick these gems out of the sides that are around you, you're strengthening your side whilst also weakening everyone else. And ultimately, that was Manchester United's whole transfer strategy when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, Dan, wasn't it? And that didn't necessarily end too badly for them.
No, absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not. And I think you look at it, and Everton, it makes sense on their part. They've just signed Vitaly Milikenko, and that was around £21 million. They've also brought in Nathan Patterson for £12 million. And they actually brought in Digne when he first signed for 18. So, on all sense, they're making a sort of a profit on the player that they've brought in the left-back spot. They're making a profit on the Digne deal. And I think, the one thing that's underestimated when we talk about Digne is we've always wanted to bring in players who have sort of been there and done that on the global, on the international stage, players that have shone in Europe and understand what it means to go and compete on the continent. And this is a player with 43 caps for France, which is, one of, if not the hardest national squad to play regularly in the world. Especially because, you just have to look at even in that left back spot, you've got Hernandez, you've got Mendy, Ferland Mendy, that is. We've got all sorts of talent in that left back spot. So for him to have those kind of appearances is quite remarkable. You've also then got to look at the accolades. We're talking about a 2-time Ligue 1 winner, a Coupe de France winner, 2-time Coupe de la Liga winner, 3-time Trophée des Champions winner in Spain, La Liga, Copa del Rey, twice, Supercopa España. He won the Under-20 World Cup as well with France, and he's won the Nations League. So this is a guy that, understands what it means to go and compete for silverware, understands what it's mean. He's played all across Europe. So, hopefully when we get onto that stage, this isn't something that will phase him. And he's got a very solid return as well. I think it's good that one of the reasons why, as I said, that why he had a frustration to leave Everton was because Benitez was favouring a more defensive style, which he wasn't pleased with. And whilst you don't want to advocate for players causing a scene with their manager, but it's good that he wants to come and he wants to play attacking football. That's the ethos that he has, and I think that reflects the trend in modern fullbacks. But also, I think it's clearly something that we've promised him, is that he'll be a part of an attacking side, that he'll be able to express himself on the forward end as he wants to, and that's even more encouraging to hear because I think the offensive output of our fullbacks has to be questioned at this point, and I don't think we're going to have that problem with Luka.
No, of course, mate. And if anything as well, it's something that we've championed for a long time, Dan. Competition and strength in depth. That position has ultimately been Matt Targett's ever since he's walked through the door, and it's never really been a question as to who's going to start at left back. Now, on the last podcast when we discussed Dean, if I'm being honest, Ben Crescen's name completely slipped my mind. Someone pulled me up in the comments. Ben Crescent is a wonderful talent and could definitely make it. But I think if we were signing a Hickey, which is, of course, still a possibility potentially, you don't know what will happen in the summer with Target, with whatever. If you're signing these younger players, I think that's when you have to worry about the path to the first team being blocked. If we're getting a 19-year-old Aaron Hickey, who's balling out for Bologna, by the way, an absolutely fantastic fullback, wonderful with both feet, consistently scoring and assisting in a very good league, in a top 5 league. That's when I would worry for the likes of Crescent. And obviously, we've just recently recalled a whole bunch of our loan players back, including Kane Kessler as well, which would suggest to me, Dan, that sort of the right back position, that's locked down for at least till the summer. I think with Kashi and Kessler, I think that's all that Gerrard's looking for. Now we've got Dean and Tiggs on the left. I mean, it's just so exciting, honestly. And I can understand why people are a bit sceptical. But this guy, not only just whipping crosses in, but from a dead ball situation, he's got fantastic stats. He's winning about 2.8 aerials per 90, which, at his height at about 5'10", very difficult thing to do. Villa defend the box very narrowly. That's a trend that's carried over from Dean Smith. So it's nice to know that Dean can hold his own when crosses are being put in, especially if you look at that Brentford goal. If you're going to analyse the second one, Villa have to deal with that a lot better. And all the stats to me, Dan, say that Luca Dean is a fantastic player. The eye test tells me he's an upgrade on Tiggs, and hopefully the signing can bring the best out of Tiggs as well, Dan.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, man. I think that's what it is. And I have to credit Tiggs because at no point did I ever really feel like he got comfy. He's always looked to improve himself every year that we've seen him. It seems like he's tried to improve aspects of his game, which is not always something that you see. We have always got Ashley Young as well in those fullback spots as someone that can come in and fill a gap. So I think there's really healthy competition there now, which we haven't had for a long, long time. And I think that's important. The one thing I will say, it will be very interesting to see what this means for Matty Targett, because it's not like it's going to be easy to get Luka out of this team, because not only managers will now favour the newer players. That's generally how football works. That a player will come in and a manager will favour them if there is a close run for a starting spot. So it does feel like that Matty Targett is now very much the backup left back, and I would love to see him stay there because he's a fantastic option to have. He's someone that has shown that we can rely on. But how happy will he be with that role? I don't think we'll see anything happen action on that if he does have any issues with that until at least the summer. So, but it will be interesting to see what happens with Matty, because he isn't himself is a player that we put a lot of faith in. It's someone that we signed for a fair value. It's between 15 and 20 million pounds, which was a lot of money for quite an unproven talent. He's still only 26 as well, so there's a lot of time for him to go on and forge a good career of his own. But yeah, it's just how happy he is. He's been the go-to guy for a long time now for Villa. But what does that mean for him in terms of how reliable he can be as a backup fullback going forward? I don't know. But you're going to have to make these harsh decisions, mate, when we're leveling up to try and get to these European spots. You have to be harsh. And whilst we do have a lot of loyalty and we have a lot to make targets, you've got to be brutal in this business, haven't you?
Absolutely, mate. That's just the nature of it. But guys, let us know how you are feeling about this signing. It's one that I know Dan and I are absolutely gassed about, but we'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. And also, if you haven't checked out OneFootball, make sure you check it out with the top link in the description. It will help me out, it will help Dan out, it will help you guys out. So yeah, we'd really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because we're closing in finally on 5,000 subscribers, Dan. I believe we're about 40 away at this point. And when we do, we're going to be giving away a home shirt and an away shirt for you guys. So yeah, you're going to want to make sure you subscribe for that. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and up the Villa.